Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned here to Raymond Vineyards live, CellarPass TV. I am Alan Kropf from Mutineer Magazine. I now have a belly full of bubbles, which means the jokes get funnier and the pauses get more awkward. And I'm excited because we have the lovely and talented Stephanie Putnam.
Thank you.
Director of winemaking.
Correct.
Here at Raymond Vineyards, and you are a veteran of CellarPass TV. Live broadcasts.
That is correct. I was here last year, but we were filming at Carnegie Hall, not actually in the lovely Red Room at Raymond.
Yes, and it was raining.
It was raining, yes. My hair was frizzing.
But as Jonathan pointed out, no one got electrocuted, so
that was good.
It was a wash, literally.
Survived to make another crush.
Yes, and Crush just wrapped up.
Crush just finished. Very excited. I think it's going to be as stellar as everyone is already talking about it. Believe the hype.
It's scary cool, huh? How great the weather has been.
It's been phenomenal. I mean, today is 85, 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it'll be cold. But it doesn't matter. Our last grapes were last week, so we're excited to be done.
Have you ever worked a vintage similar to this in terms of what the weather offered you?
Ooh. I might have to go back to something like a 2002, where or maybe a 2001, both were what I call a classic vintage, where the weather was almost like you could script it. It was so perfect.
And
that would be the closest.
As a winemaker, does that give you more options, or does it just kind of put you on the path to the style that the wine wants to be on its own?
Every year I try and see what the wines want to give me. So every year the wines are somewhat on a path of their own, and that's the nature of what we're trying to do, make distinctive wines that reflect our terroir. But some years are easier than others. 2011 was a little bit more of a challenging year, and so they call that more of a winemaker's year, where you're challenged to see what you can do with that. This year, 2012, will just be a phenomenal year.
Ah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, you really had to work hard to make a bad wine in 2012.
And the 2009, let's talk about this wine a little bit, the
oh yes,
Cabernet Reserve.
This is actually the very first wine that we did under the new ownership of Boisset, and I think it really shows what we're trying to do with the wine style.
Thank you.
Over the past couple of years since Boisset purchased the winery in 2009, we've done a lot of things behind the scenes to really take the quality up to the next level. We have really focused on our farming, doing deficit irrigation. We are in the process of converting our vineyards to organic and biodynamic farming. We'll get our certification in 2012. We worked behind the scenes on longer macerations in the tank. We went from 14 days to this wine has 27 days on skins, and I think that really gives it a much longer palate, more of a mid palate, and a better length up to it.
Questions are already starting to come in. Cellar Mistress says, is this pretty much the standard for the varietals you use on this wine, or do you ever use Malbec or Petit Verdot?
Well, that's a good question. I do love Malbec and Petit Verdot, and next year we will receive Malbec from our vineyard. So in 2010, we ripped out all of our Cab on the Rutherford estate and replanted to Cab, a small amount of Petit Verdot, and a small amount of Malbec. So going forward, the 2009 is just Cab with Cabernet Franc and Merlot blended into it, but future vintages, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Malbec and Petit Verdot in there as well.
Making wine here, you have so many opportunities. You invest so much in the winemaking process. What is the most exciting aspect of being able to make wines here at Raymond for you?
I get to hang out in the red room.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty hard not to love this room. I think John Charles Boisset, the owner, is very much he's very hands-on when it comes to the wines. He loves to be involved in the tastings and the blending process, but very hands-off when it comes to what style do you think is best when it comes to expressing the wines of Raymond. And I love being able to really, instead of focusing on a house style, that's what the house is known for, being able to focus on what does the land want to give us.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And then we have the Napa Valley Film Festival starting
Yes.
up tomorrow.
That is correct.
Second year. Did you do anything with the festival last year?
Last year we hosted a dinner. I think it was a Saturday night dinner for 40 or 50 people. We did have a famous movie star come hang out at the Red Room with us last year. And I believe we're doing another dinner again this year on Saturday as well. But I think it's sold out.
It's a pretty exciting event, right? I mean, it's only the second year they've done it, and it seems to be just going so amazingly well for such a big event.
It's getting a lot of draw, and they're premiering a wine called Somme, is that?
A documentary, a feature length,
documentary,
yeah.
right, if I remember correctly, and so that's getting a lot of feedback, and so I think since it's only the second year of the film festival, I think the amount of films and the credibility of the films that we're showing are incredible.
Oh yes, check this out. The new issue of Mutineer, which comes out like tomorrow or something. Exclusive, behind the scenes of Somme.
Yes.
Right there. So yeah, it's extra exciting this year to have a world premiere at the Napa Valley Film Festival and have it be about wine.
How more perfect could it be?
It's so rare to have those stories told in a way that's relevant, I think, outside of the niche culture. So yeah, it's very exciting to have. They're very talented filmmakers, so I'm excited to check it out.
It will be.
So now that Crush is wrapped up, what's the rest of the year look like for you here at Raymond?
Well, I'd like to say I'll go scuba diving soon, but that's probably not going to happen. There's still a lot of work to be done. We still have most of the wines that we have harvested and fermented are still on their skins. I'm a big believer in extended maceration, and so we'll probably be doing a lot of pressing in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then we have to send the wines down to barrel, and then it's Christmas, and then we have to rack the wines out of barrel post-malolactic fermentation. So even though it seems like once the grapes are in and everything is in the tank, it seems like the work is done. That's really when our work starts beginning. And then as soon as those wines are taken care of, we focus on the upcoming blends for next year. There is no downtime.
Cellar Mistress says the 09 is definitely much richer than the 08. She's loving it. And my Vine Spot asks, he's curious to find out what the 3% Cab Franc does in the wine. He understands how Merlot can fill the gaps, but what about the Cab Franc?
Cabernet Franc is a blended varietal that's known for giving wine more structure, especially if you think about it along the sides of your palate. And so the Merlot fills out the middle, but it helps to have something that gives a little bit more structure on the sides. It's more like if you're thinking about a house, it's the framework for the house. But I do agree. I think the 2009 is heads and shoulders above the 2008. Part of that is a vintage different. But I think also we really focused on, again, doing longer macerations, really focused on revamping our barrels, so we get barrels that are that integrate better with the wine, a little bit smoother tannins overall.
Then I'm just curious, I'm not sure if you're directly involved, but Frenchy Winery. What can you tell me?
I love Frenchy Winery.
Yes.
I mean, what couldn't possibly? You put a picture of a cute dog, put it in costume on a bottle, of course it's going to sell. I've been involved in the process, and I am the assistant winemaker to Frenchy.
Yes.
I was demoted for that. It's a lot of fun, and I have a lot of friends who as soon as they saw the picture of the label, just said, I have to have a case of it.
Yeah.
And so that wine, for me, is, I describe it as an over-the-top wine, much like our owner. Very extravagant, very flamboyant, very rich and unctuous. It's a wine that is meant to be as fun as the label.
And people can actually bring their dogs
Yes.
to check out Frenchy Winery and take it all in, right?
In fact, you can come to the winery. There's 5 individual kennels for people to put their dogs in if they want to go taste. And in the tasting room, we have a webcam, so that while you're tasting, you can actually look at your dogs playing in the kennel. I've actually brought my dog during harvest. I had him hang out in the kennel.
Hands down, the most dog friendly of all wineries.
I came here, was it 2 Saturdays ago, to work, and there were 2 dogs hanging out in the kennel.
Nice.
That is amazing.
It's amazing, and I think everyone has dogs. Everyone loves dogs. And you want to be able to travel, but you don't want to leave them in the car, so it makes a lot of sense.
it's only a matter of time before someone's kid ends up in a timeout in Frenchy Winery. That's my prediction. It's a bold prediction, I'm sure.
Prediction. I'm not going to comment.
And mom will show up with her kids in the kitchen.
Another thing is Red Room. The whole facility here is amazing. You guys do wonderful parties, and you had a big Halloween party recently that unfortunately I couldn't attend. Did you make it to the Halloween party?
I unfortunately could not attend because it was our national sales meeting at the same time, so I wasn't able to attend. But it is an epic party.
Yeah.
I have restaurateurs call me once we have sold out to see if they can find a way to sneak in. So it's something that we launched maybe 3 years ago, and it's become an epic Halloween costume party. Not to be missed.
Yes, it has quite a reputation. And then, can you talk about some of the other bottlings that you work on here at Raymond beyond the Cab Reserve?
Well, I would say our top wine, our most important wine, is Generations. And so that is a tribute to the 5-generation legacy of the Raymond family within Napa. It's 100% Cabernet, so it's different than a Reserve Cab is Cab with Merlot and Cab Franc blended in. Generations is really our tribute to the best of the best. We're trying to make a wine that is both powerful and elegant at the same time. Also, we do some district bottlings, and our district bottlings are between the Reserve and Generations, and are to highlight all the unique individual districts or appellations, sub-appellations within Napa Valley. So we do an Oakville, a St. Helena, and a Rutherford, a Calistoga. We've got a couple other ones that are going to come out to release. And so those wines, I love making Cab, but those wines are a lot of fun to do because they're essentially single vineyard blend or single vineyard bottlings that we do of each appellation.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
oh wow.
Hey, hello. The silent girl over in the corner. My vine spot is saying lovely deep color with rich inviting aromas on the 09 Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon.
When?
Now.
Fantastic. I agree. I actually especially love these lovely Baccarat glasses.
Yes.
Yes. Only available to sip from here in the Red Room. Membership has its privileges.
How about go through some of the tasting notes on the wine?
Sure. So I get a lot of black cherry and anise, some really almost like a dark chocolate character.
A lot of cooler fruit characteristics: dark fruit, earth, kind of brambly. It is very elegant and restrained.
Getting,
Nice, really nice length on it, nice mid palate. There's a chewiness to the wine, but it's also fairly well integrated. So the tannins are there, but for me, they're not as prevalent as they are in other vintages. You were
So
about to-
is all the fruit sourced here from the estate vineyards, or is it sourced from other vineyards throughout the area?
The Cabernet is a mix of estate fruit here, and then fruit that we get from our St. Helena vineyard, and then also select vineyards in Oakville and southern Napa. Within the whole Reserve portfolio, it's somewhat mixed. I would say the Raymond Reserve Cab is probably, that's a good question. A good chunk of it is from our estate here. Our Reserve Merlot, which is one that I didn't talk about when we were asking about other wines. That is essentially 100% estate, and although it says Napa Valley Merlot on it, we could call it Rutherford Merlot, and we don't, just because we want to keep the portfolio there consistent and make sense for people. But that one, if you want to see a true expression of terroir and Rutherford terroir, drink our Merlot. It's not your mother's Merlot.
Before you had mentioned some sustainability certifications, and is that more bringing to life the certification process itself, or really making changes in the vineyards?
We are making changes, and we will get our certification. There is a way to do both your organic and biodynamic certification at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So beginning in 2010, we started farming organically and biodynamically, and so our certification should be achieved in, well, this month actually.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
So yes, very exciting. Our vineyard manager, Eric Poole, has worked very hard on getting that certification for us.
And how are those changes being reflected in the wines from your perspective?
Well, you're not really going to see it quite yet. I think you'll definitely see it in the wines going forward. The whole concept of biodynamics is really about expressing the truest expression of terroir. You want to minimize all of the external influences so that what you have is really allowed to shine. And I think that you're going to start seeing more of a purity of fruit coming out, and perhaps a little bit more of a gravelly note as more of the Rutherford Dust terroir comes out.
And Cellar Mistress loves the mid palate on this wine. It's so rich and dark and juicy fruit.
Juicy, I love that expression.
Juicy.
I would agree.
She also said the red room is decadent, naughty, and fun.
That's a good description.
I couldn't agree more. The 09 to me is rich, round and ripe, with nice depth of fruit, velvety texture. Is it better young, in your opinion?
God, that's such a personal choice for everyone. It's, for me, Chardonnays, I prefer older Chardonnays. I want my Chardonnay to be at least a year or two in the bottle before I drink it. That's my personal preference. I think most consumers now tend to go more for the younger is better, but I tend to like my cabs with about 5 years of bottle age on them. So it's more of a personal preference thing.
It's a good rule to live by.
What, more is better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least 5 years.
If you can achieve it, 5 years is great. I think that a lot of times that's when wines start to really sing.
If nothing else, it keeps your hands off of the new releases that you get, before they have a time to disappear into the cellar.
My parents
Gives them time
actually
to mature.
did had an amazing wine cellar, and what they would do is they would buy wine, and then everyone says, I'm saving it for a special occasion, but no one says when it is. And so they would actually label it for, this is for my 21st birthday, their 15th wedding anniversary, put it in a wood case, nail it shut, and on the outside of the case, put the inventory of what each wine was and what the occasion was for. So if you're going to age old wines or you're going to age Cabernets, pick what that occasion is.
That's a great
Otherwise,
idea.
you're always going to wait too long, in my opinion.
And to me, I think the biggest shame is drinking a beautiful Napa Cab too early, because I love old world Bordeaux, and for some reason Bordeaux always gets there so much quicker and achieves that earthiness and that complexity, but give it a couple of years and
Yes.
they get so amazingly
They fill out and become more opulent.
Yeah.
And you get more of a bottle bouquet, kind of like a cedary note. If you can wait, patience is rewarded, but it's hard.
Definitely. Do you have any more questions from the peanut gallery?
The peanut gallery is silencing down for the moment here. Just everyone's chiming in about just honestly how rich and delicious this wine is. And speaking of, where's my glass?
Where's your glass?
Yes.
It can be arranged.
We can fill it.
Yes.
Yes!
And then you can tell us what you think and see if you agree with all the bloggers.
I would love to. Of course, I've been sipping bubbles, so I'm not exactly
Bubbles make it
completely
better.
unfortunate over here. All right, so let's check this out. Oh, it smells incredible. Okay, I'm going to get on camera.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm back on camera.
Well, while we're waiting for her to taste and give us our opinion, or her opinion, little known fact, this red room used to be our accounting offices.
Really?
Yes.
That's why I smell like money.
We did a major upgrade. Used to be our accounting offices.
That's amazing.
It's a much better use of the space.
Exactly.
Absolutely agree. There's definitely that nice, lovely fruit, the lusciousness in there. And I would agree. You can drink this now. Definitely no shame in that. But I would probably put it down for a couple of years. 3, maybe 5 if I could wait that long. But I would say, again, I'm like the 6-bottle rule. Get 6 bottles and just open one every year.
That's a good rule.
See
It's
if
a
you
good
like
rule.
it.
I'm actually getting a lot of perfume and cassis and almost like a graphite character.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe a gravelly character.
It has an awesome earth kind of
That's the
thing
Rutherford
going on.
Dust coming out. That kind of meaty, mushroomy
Uh-huh.
character.
Musty.
Yeah, foresty.
Yeah, no, it's
Like a-
this is a wine that, you know, if you want to drink it now, which I encourage, if you buy 6 bottles, just decant it. I mean, all wines are better decanting, even white wines. I decant.
Always decant.
Let
Yeah.
it breathe, people.
Let it breathe.
Now, it definitely has that earthiness, like you walk through the, forest or something after a rain. I mean, it's just so
That
amazing.
kind of
Just
dank
Yeah.
mossiness,
just
kind
hits
of
you.
forest
And
floor.
It's amazing. I personally like that smell, so I'm totally digging this.
Outstanding. Well, I guess we have no more questions.
Oh, well, I don't know, because I'm not at the computer now. Ha 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 ha. Nice stemware. Thanks. What types of glasses are those? And great job, Sarah. Ah, thank you.
Oh,
Ha ha ha.
she could have been me. No one would have known. Could have put a curly hair wig on. No one ever would have known.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this stemware. Stephanie, can you speak about the Baccarat? Or do
I
you know
will
much about
try
it?
my best. I'm not sure if I can cover everything, but this is, I believe, a brand new line for Baccarat. And they have one for Burgundy, and I believe this is more for the Bordeaux, and that we are the exclusive Northern California retailers for Baccarat.
Oh, wow.
Hence all of the Baccarat chandelier that we are surrounded by.
Yes.
A little known fact about Baccarat, if you want to know if it's a Baccarat chandelier, look for a red crystal fob. Red is the hardest color in crystal to make, and so if someone says it's a Baccarat chandelier but it doesn't have a red crystal fob, it's not Baccarat. But I think the stemware, good stemware, is always worth the price, and it really allows the wine to open up. I mean, this has a nice broad bowl, so you can really aerate the wine, but then it kind of tightens up at the top to focus the aromas to your nose.
I hear that JC is on his way, so
Oh, wonderful.
we will keep chatting about this wine and the awesome stemware and the crystal and the velvet and everything else that's going on here in the Red Room until
We
our guest
actually
is on
have
it.
a wine that we created for the Red Room, available only in the Red Room.
Pass us a bottle so we can see what it looks like.
So it's created to really, if you can't be in the Red Room, you can have this wine and feel like you're in the Red Room. It's animalistic, like the cheetah print carpet that we have. It's very velvety, so it's a very rich and seductive wine. It's more of a, you could call it more of a claret style, so it's cab with a nice healthy chunk of Cabernet Franc and Merlot in it. Again, the question that we had earlier about Cabernet Franc, you really get a lot of structure in this wine because it has about 15-20% Cab Franc.
Is it aged in velvet-lined barrels?
You know,
That's a no.
if you ask John Charles, we could probably make that happen. Have you been to the Crystal Cellar? We do have the little, the barrels that we wrapped in velvet.
I haven't seen those.
Oh yeah, if you come to the Crystal Cellar, so we have our barrel-to-barrel program where we put wine in the barrel for you, the consumer, and we have a couple of them decorated, and many of them are decorated in velvet
Nice.
and other
Adornment.
interesting adornments. Thank you.
Grace is mesmerized by the Red Room red wine bottle.
Oh, it's a beautiful bottle. Again, it's only available if you're a Red Room member, but it's worth it.
And do you make it every year?
We make it every year. We make about 150 cases at the most, so it's very small production. Actually, we will be doing a new wine. I'm not sure what it's called yet. But if you come to the winery and you walk around the Theater of Nature, you'll notice that there's essentially a meter-by-meter planting of around the Theater of Nature. And it's planted to all of the traditional 5 Bordeaux varietals, and our concept there is going to be a true field mix. So all the Cabernet Franc and the Cab and the Merlot and the Malbec will all be harvested at the same time. And so we're going to use cultural practices to enable everything ripening at the same time. And so every year you'll be able to see what that year gave to the wine. Was it a very early summer that cooled off, in which case maybe the Merlot would shine, or maybe the Cabernet Franc would shine one year. So really be the truest expression of terroir every year, because it'll be just that vineyard, what it gives us every year, and then that's it.
Sounds amazing.
It's It's our winemaker, not our winemakers, but our wine growers' pet project.
Wow. So they're going to adjust the colors and everything kind of out there with what they're doing in the vineyard.
Yeah, with irrigation management. Like you might want to water the Merlot and the Cabernet, but you might want to cut back on the Cabernet Franc, do more aggressive green thinning with some varietals and not so much with other ones. So it'll be a fun experiment every year.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we see Cellar Mistress is saying she's definitely seen more and more layers the longer this wine's open. So she's excited to see what it's going to taste like tomorrow with breakfast.
She'll have to send us what her recommendations are for breakfast.
Oh, some of my other bloggers are finally chiming in. So Martin is chiming in, and he is saying he agrees the red room and the bottles are a stunning visual effort. Thank you, team bloggers. Yay! That's it for now.
Yes.
That's all I have.
And any plans to take in any of the movies this week during the festival?
I do. I
Yes?
just haven't had a chance to look at the complete list yet. I'm still somewhat in harvest mode, even though our last grapes were last week. There's still a lot of things for us to do, so I have to figure out what my time is.
It's a lot of options.
A lot of fantastic options, yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So is John Charles on his way?
That's what I hear.
Is that the plan?
That's the plan. What was the most recent vintage for your Cabernet Sauvignon?
2009 is our current release for the Reserve Cab, and 2008 is our current release for our Generations.
It's nice holding him back a little bit.
It is. Well, we give that one a little bit more oak, and we want to have a little bit more time in barrel for the wine. Again, it's made to be powerful yet elegant, so we want to give a little bit more time in the barrel and in the bottle to kind of mellow out. So,
Working with talent's so difficult, they never show up on time.
It's always like a beehive here. There's always things happening.
there's always something happening here, and I will say, if you like the 2009, get it, because I think we're going to be running out in a couple of months.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what do you guys offer for a wine club here?
We have multiple options for our wine clubs, and unfortunately, I'm not well enough versed in there to do anything other than flub my way through it.
But they're all on the website.
They're all on the website, they're on brochures, but I think there's 2 or 3 different options that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't want anyone to come here and not find an option.
Yeah.
Hence Frenchie in the Red Room, Crystal Cellar. There's something for everyone.
He clarified, sorry, asking how the 2012 growing season was for Cab Sauv.
Fantastic. I mean, it really,
It was epic.
it was not a lot of rainfall, fairly dry winter, hot but not too hot summer. There was no dramatic heat spikes. Fall was very mellow, perfect. I mean, it really, if you wanted to script it, it wouldn't be as good as what we had. So I'm very excited about what we've got in the tank.
How does alcohol levels play into a longer growing season with it being warmer and such?
Well, alcohol is a indirect relationship to how much sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So in a cooler year, typically it tends to be lower alcohol wines. In a warmer year, higher sugars, higher ripeness, then theoretically we'll get more alcohol. And what I've always found is that alcohol is an issue when the wine isn't in balance. As long as you've got the fruit and the tannins to stand up to the alcohol, you don't really notice it's there.
Mm-hmm. So even though this is a warmer year, are the wines going to have a higher alcohol, or even if they
think
do, it's going to be more balanced?
It's going to be balanced, and I think it's going to be a very similar alcohol to what you see in the 2009.
Okay.
So it's not going to be extravagant at all, and it will be in balance. If it
Big
kills me.
flavor and balance. What would you suggest as a pairing?
Ooh, lamb.
Lamb?
Or steak.
Ooh, lamb.
Lamb. I came up with that one. Yeah, any type of grilled dish would be phenomenal with this wine, really.
You don't mess with simplicity.
Yes,
Keep it
exactly.
simple.
I mean, you could even we've got a lovely platter here of cheeses and roasted, roast beef and
Some prosciutto.
Serrano
di
prosciutto.
Parma, yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to just have it very simple and have a glass of wine on your back door and have some cheese and roast beef, perfect. Or you could do, grilled lamb or grilled steak.
Sounds like a plan.
It does.
What are we doing after?
Yeah, right?
Is this a prop? Can we eat it?
Yes, no, you can absolutely.
It is perfectly
Please
edible.
do. It was fun.
We've tested it.
Yeah, it's
The-
safe.
If you taste a lot of red wines, roast beef is a great palate cleanser.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. No, so a lot of people do wine in between, and I think that wine can sometimes dilute it, but roast beef is a great, it neutralizes everything in the mouth without putting water into your mouth. So it's a great
That's
palate
incredible.
cleanser.
I am sharing this.
Yes.
I know I've done a couple of wine competitions, and when you're tasting, 100 plus cabs, you need something,
Definitely.
and you don't. I mean, you have a little water, but roast beef is definitely the way to go.
Palate
Speaking
fatigue.
of alcohol, I am a believer in big and balanced. Some people are not. What are your thoughts on high alcohol content?
Well, I've somewhat already stated that, but for me, high alcohol wines, you don't notice the alcohol if the wines are in balance. You only notice the alcohol if it's not in balance. If you don't have enough fruit or don't have enough tannins, and then the wine seems really hot. But if the wine is in balance, it's got you're not really going to notice it. I mean, there are some amazingly fantastic wines that have really high alcohols, but people don't know it.
Got it. We call those date wines.
Call them cheap date wines.
Goes down easy.
Goes down easy.
Excellent. All right. So, I don't eat meat. Those comes from Flawless Crowns. But what about fish? Halibut, maybe.
I think if you're going to do fish, it definitely should be something a little bit heavier, meatier fish type. Halibut would be great. Swordfish.
I think like mushroom dishes are always
Grilled
a great
portobellos.
Good.
stand-in.
If I've done mushroom risottos.
Oh, that'd be
In fact,
excellent.
one of the best pairings I ever had was a mushroom risotto with a merlot.
Nice.
Any type of grilled vegetable would also be. The grilling I think gives the vegetables a little bit more depth and intensity, and so I think that can stand up to cab as well.
Or,
Good question.
yeah, I think Flawless Crown, talking about the halibut. I think if I was going to go that route, I would definitely do a deep smoky spice on the fish.
Yes.
So,
I would not do any type of citrus vinaigrette.
keeping it in the same tones and flavor
Right,
patterns.
yes.
Absolutely. Nice. All right, what do we got here? I'm sorry, I'm catching up on my questions. Now I know why we have backup for this.
Great.
Roast beef neutralizes everything. If you taste a lot of wine, roast beef is a great palate cleanser. Thank you, Grace. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, glad to hear that. Going back to the alcohol content conversation, she had a high alcohol SB once and loved it, and people argued with me. So silly. And yes, they liked my mushroom risotto comment.
Good.
Yay! All right, as you were.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, should we take a short break?
Yeah, let's close out and
Yeah,
come
I
back.
think so. We will
All right.
come back in just a moment.
Yes. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank
so
you.
much. This is a delicious wine, and
Thank
it was
you.
so good to have you back.
I know. I feel honored.
Yes.
Thanks.
Outstanding. We'll be back.
To find out more about today's featured winery, Raymond Vineyards, or to plan your next visit to wine country, go to CellarPass.com. Once you're there, you can book a variety of wine tasting experiences and download the free CellarPass app to get instant access to exclusive tours and tastings. That's CellarPass.com for instant access to book with our exclusive wine country destinations.